Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Tri Honda. Hurry to your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on the 2016 models. By Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. By Fios by Verizon. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Visit getfios.com today. By ESPN Radio, listen to Alan Hahn and Rick DiPietro weekdays at noon on 98.7 ESPN. And by Land Rover, above and beyond. New York on Sunday. Big city taking a nap. Well, wake up. It's time for baseball. Chilly day in New York, but baseball to be played today at Citi Field. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling join me in just a moment as the Mets played the rubber game of their three-game series against the Phillies. Mets are 2-2 on the year. They came into the series 1-1, and on Friday, their home opener, they raised the National League Championship banner with the help of some former Mets champions. Then Jacob deGrom took the mound, home opener for the second straight year, and Jake waiting for the baby, dealing with a lat issue. He was locked in. And the new guy, Neil Walker, produced offensively. He and Michael Conforto took turns driving in the runs for the Mets. Conforto with his double down the line, plated a run. Then Walker batting right-handed going the other way to drive in another. And then Conforto to boot with a 3 RBI afternoon as he snuck one by Ryan Howard. And the Mets had themselves a 7-2 victory. Different story last night. It was cold. Bartolo Colon didn't need sleeves to perform well. 6 solid innings, but one mistake. Ryan Howard goes oppo. 45th home run of his career against the Mets. And that was enough for young Vince Velasquez in his first start as a Philly. He was tremendous. 9 strikeouts in 6 innings as he got the win of the Phillies, a 1-0 victory to get even in the series. And what we've seen from the Mets so far this year, 4 games, great pitching, not much offense.
Well, you know what? It's been an unusual scheduling, too. It's been very hard for this team collectively to get into a rhythm of the season. The 2 off days after the Kansas City series, the off day in between. They finally now playing 3 days in a row. Hallelujah. That's what baseball is all about. So that's probably why the offense is sputtering along with the cold weather. But the 2 guys that have carried this team have been the 5 and 6 hitters, and that's Conforto and the newcomer Walker. They have driven in 8 of the 12 runs. That's a third of the runs that the Mets have, 2/3 of the runs that the Mets have scored this year.
On the pitching side, we now know that Jacob deGrom will miss his start on Wednesday, probably Logan Verrett in his spot. Meanwhile, Matt Harvey makes his second start today, and if you go back to spring training, he's had 4 straight not so great starts.
Yeah, he has. Finally finished up spring training on not pitching that much. Got into Kansas City, had an all-right start, got into the 6th inning, gave up 4 runs, 3 of them earned, but only 2 strikeouts and 2 walks. But the Phillies have always been around for Matt Harvey. 6-1 in his career in 8 starts, and Harvey looking at the first rubber game of the series for the Mets this year, hoping to take the series.
6 wins against the Phillies, no more than 3 against anybody else. Mets wearing their throwback 86 jerseys today for their first Sunday home game. It's the Mets and Phils. All the action coming your way today on SNY. SNY is brought to you by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By Long Island Railroad's Train to the Game, the easiest call at Citi Field. And by Lexus, the Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid go beyond utility. Get to Citi Field for the first Free Shirt Friday of 2016 on April 29th when the Mets face off against the Giants at 7:10. All fans in attendance will receive a 2015 National League Champs t-shirt courtesy of 1-800-Flowers.com. For tickets, visit Mets.com/FreeShirtFridays. Closed captioning for Mets baseball brought to you by Sideline. Dog Day in the Park. That's a happy customer. Matt Harvey ready to take the mound for the Mets for the first time since the World Series. First pitch coming right up. For his brilliant but ultimately ill-fated Game 5 start in last year's World Series, and now on a bright, sunny, chilly afternoon, he's back out there. David Wright making some friends, as he always seems to do. Look at that smile on that kid's face.
Look at that uniform.
Just like '86, my friend. Here's your Phillies starting lineup. First start of the series for the veteran Carlos Ruiz. Ryan Howard playing 3 games in a row after he hit the home run for the only run of last night's game. Phillies got their first win of the season last night, and here's Harvey, his second start of the year.
Matt, 25-19 in his career, but he loves pitching here at Citi Field. His last 17 starts here, 116 Ks and 16 walks. That's a 7-to-1 ratio, strikeouts to walks.
How about the Mets pitching staff so far this year? 3 walks, 36 strikeouts. That's almost impossible.
Expect more of the same.
Freddie Galvis takes the first pitch for a strike, and we're underway.
Ron, do you remember the blue border on the V-neck of that uniform? I do not.
I do not either.
These are the 86 replicas that the Mets will wear for every Sunday home game this year. Galvis pops one up behind short. Conforto comes on to call, and that's the first out of the day.
And we'll take a quick look at your Metropolitans, brought to you by Lexus. We're back to that same outfield as usual. On the infield, David Wright back in the lineup. Everybody else has been pretty much stalwart out there every day. And Kevin Plawecki getting the first start of the year behind the plate.
Here is Cesar Hernandez, who has had an interesting series, 4 for 8 at the plate and a disaster on the bases.
He has been can't dig a hole deep enough.
He's been caught stealing twice. He had a brain cramp on the infield fly rule, and then last night didn't score from third on a dribbler, but he has his 5th hit of the series as he pokes one inside the bag. Conforto over quickly to play it and holds Hernandez to a single.
Little inside out. Looks like a 4-seam fastball. Right down the pipe, a little tardy.
Hernandez is a good bunter, so David playing, you know, on the grass, but off the line, so no chance.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Odubel Herrera, 2 for 8 in the series.
He's got a nice little swing. This guy likes the ball away. You got to crowd him upstairs. He likes that ball out over the plate and down.
Had an opposite field hit against Jerry's Familia in the game last night. Familia, by the way, might not be available today. He is under the weather, and Terry Collins said he'd like to stay away from Familia. And with Logan Verrett now penciled in for the start on Wednesday, that leaves the Mets possibly a couple of men short in the bullpen. So it would behoove Harvey to get deep into this game.
It would behoove the offense to get off the snide and score some runs.
Quick move there by Harvey. Gary, you were mentioning that you know, there's no guarantees, you know, but Terry was talking about his pitching staff. 1.29 ERA to start. Bullpen's been outstanding, but Jake already to miss a start.
Pretty much straight away in the outfield. I would shade Herrera a little bit to the opposite field, depending on where you're going to pitch him. See straight up Cespedes.
Saw this with Jake on the first night. Mets pitchers throwing over a little more than they did last year.
You think that's by design?
Yeah, because he's the one stolen base threat, even though he's been thrown out twice.
He gets jammed and pops one up for Cabrera to retreat, and as Dribble's got it for the second out. I would think also after the World Series last year and the way the Royals took advantage of the Mets with their running game that it would have to be a point of emphasis.
And also what we saw from the Washington Nationals in spring training.
I mean, the catchers can only do so much.
They normally say you steal off the pitchers. I don't know if Ronnie, you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah, for the most part. But it's nice to have a gunslinger back there that you can count on.
That's true. It's very big of you to accept that responsibility.
Here's Maikel Franco, 1 for 4 yesterday after sitting out the first game of the series, and he fouls off Harvey's fastball.
Oh boy.
Matt went 5 2/3 in his opening night start. Allowed 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. Mets left the tying run at third in the 9th, trying to get him off the hook, but fell short.
And I think that Matt was inconsistent in his first start, Ron, and I think that he needs, as well as the offense, I think this pitching staff needs to get into a rhythm of the season too.
It's hard to. I mean, he's on the understudy for the Hamilton play. You know, every Sunday he's appearing. So this is a little more difficult. But when you're pitching in April and you get this kind of day, I know the temperature's cold. This is a good day to pitch in April in the Northeast.
It's not bad if you're out in the sun. There goes the runner, pitch outside. Plawecki's throw is not in time. Now it's a stolen base for Hernandez, the Phillies' first stolen base of the season. They've been the only National League team without a steal. Now they've got one.
Oh, good time to steal with 2 outs, get in scoring position. Stole it easily.
Right on that Mets championship logo on the base.
I love that super slow.
Franco pokes one foul, and it's 2-2.
Franco's interesting for me to watch. I was listening to you talk about him in a big moment last night, trying to drive a run in with a sacrifice fly, and he had a big cut. It's interesting to me. He seems like a real free swinger that once you get ahead of him, you don't have to throw a lot of strikes. My opinion.
Two coming, and he fouls back the fastball.
95.
Franco, 14 homers, 50 RBIs in half a season last year. but certainly the Phillies are expecting big things from him. Getting his first full big league season, hitting cleanup in front of Ryan Howard. And he gets him with an off-speed pitch. Harvey strikes out Franco, his first of the day. Matt works around a base hit. Mets come to bat with no score. David Wright after a day off back in that two-hole. Interesting that after Terry Collins opined before the game yesterday that David would not be available to pinch hit, David came to him during the game, said, "I'm ready to go," and he was ready to pinch hit in that ninth inning if that spot had come up.
Well, Jeremy Hellickson, he got off to a rough start in Arizona last year. Went 1-3 in his first 8 starts with an ERA almost approaching 6, but settled down after that. Traded to the Phillies this winter for Sam McWilliams.
First 5 years of his career with Tampa, last year with Arizona.
Curtis Granderson leads off to a rough start. It's 1 for 16 to begin the season. Hellickson's had injury issues the last 2 years. The elbow 2 years ago when he was with Tampa Bay, and then a hamstring that short-circuited his season last year with Arizona.
He missed half a season, a little more than half a season in 2014 with that elbow surgery.
His best year was his first year.
Yeah. Well, when he first came up, he had an outstanding fastball, sneaky fast, and a good changeup. He's always tried to develop that curveball, and that's what he's trying to do this year to go along with a cutting fastball that he throws more often against left-handed hitters.
Well, I got to interject here. Kevin Kirst, our clubhouse man down that Met clubhouse, just sent me a photo of this old uniform, and guess what? We did have the neckline blue border. So I stand corrected.
It's a true representation of your 30-year-old uniform.
I stand corrected.
Granderson gets a hold of one out to right center, but Herrera should have room in front of the warning track. One out.
Be a tough Sunday today in that outfield. Sun appears to be a little bit over the first base line, but behind home plate, and the Phillies defense brought to you by Coors Light. Borjos gets another start out in right field. Franco gets his second start after getting plunked in the elbow. Carlos Ruiz, one of the holdouts with Ryan Howard from that old fantastic run those Phillies had of late, behind the plate.
Here's David Wright, 1 for 4 in Friday's home opener. 2 for 11 to start the year. goes after the high fastball from Hellickson. Hellickson had a tendency the last few years to be a home run machine. 22 home runs and 146 innings allowed last year with Arizona. And when you throw 89 up in the zone, that can happen.
Well, he's trying to do a little more. He's trying to sink his fastball, cut it to go along with that four-seamer. Changeup is probably his best pitch. If he can get the breaking ball over behind in the count, those are the games that he'll do much better.
Phillies got a great starting performance last night out of Vince Velasquez in his Phillies debut. Well, those are David's numbers against the Phillies. I don't think he has 304 runs against them.
Oh, my goodness.
But because that would be a record.
Well, I think the record is 304 home runs with only 119 RBIs.
There's that breaking ball by Hellickson.
I'm very curious what the real number is. Can you guys work on that in the truck?
I think they're polishing it up as we speak.
Have a cup of coffee down there.
I think it's like the Price is Right. You got to pick 2 of those numbers out of the 3, and they'll make it right.
I highly recommend a.
It's quite the showcase. Bouncing ball on the left side for Franco. And he throws out right 2 away. You know, it's our first day game after a night game, so you got to cut the truck a little slack. There we go. 34. I think that's a more reasonable.
What I told you, take 2 out of the 3 numbers, or eliminate the 0 right in there.
Guys in the truck, I strongly recommend. I did this when I had to play day games. A couple cups of black coffee works wonders.
Thank God that's what you said. Here's Cespedes with 2 out and nobody on. It's been a rough start for Cespedes. 2 for 16 with 7 strikeouts through the first 4 games. There's the recommendation.
There you go.
Black.
Did you find Cespedes' comments interesting last night after the game?
Not a time to be playing baseball. It's a time to be sleeping. That was the quote.
Is it a time to play golf?
He was referring to the chilliness in the air. Flies one out to Herrera in center. Battling the sun all the way. Stays with it to end the inning. That's going to be a factor all afternoon long on a bright sunny day at Citi Field. Hellickson sets the Mets down 1-2-3. Herrera battling the elements and winning.
Dos manos.
Harvey. Howard's second home run of the year yesterday off Bartolo Colon, played at the game's only run.
It's interesting when I watch Ryan Howard play against the Mets. Almost every ball he hits out of the ballpark is the same. Middle of the plate away, thigh high.
Was that a fastball or a changeup that Bartolo threw last night?
I thought it was a fastball.
Okay, I think you're right. It just didn't get out enough. Trying to sink it, and it didn't sink enough. Yeah, you're right, Ron. Just kind of a lazy sink to it.
Mets and Phillies have been playing against each other since 1962. Last night was the 5th time that the Phillies have beaten the Mets 1-0 on a home run. The first time it happened was in 1965, and the guy who hit the home run was the pitcher, Jim Bunning, who had thrown a perfect game against the Mets the year before. Threw a shutout that night, hit a home run. Your Little League game.
That's okay.
3-2 to Howard. The other 3 were Bill White, that Bill White, 1966, Darren Johnson in 1971, and a former Met, Rico Brogna, in 1997. Too high, and Howard's on with a leadoff walk. And Howard is the subject of our cold hard facts, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Since he emerged on the scene in 2007, only 3 players have hit more home runs.
This is his 163rd game against the Mets. First 162, only 45 home runs and 130 RBI.
MVP type numbers, which he was in 2008. It skims past Harvey. Walker's going to make the play to second and get the force on Howard. Didn't have much of a choice there once that ball got past the mound. So Carlos Ruiz reaches on the fielder's choice.
Well, he's looking here, Walker, to come in and make a tag. Now Howard stops, and he just says, okay, I'm not going to go run after him. A better chance to try to turn it the other way. The ball not hit hard enough.
So what you're saying is if Howard's faster, maybe you turn a double play.
I think that if Walker, because Chooch was jammed, did not get out of the box, if he had initially just thrown to Cabrera, they could have still completed the double play, even though it was hit that soft.
Here's Cedric Hunter. Well, let me ask you this. Had he thrown the ball to first base with Howard having stopped, does Howard get restarted fast enough to get to second before the tag play?
That's a good question. Those are all things you got to think. We're up here, and we got all this time to methodically think it over. Those are all split-second decisions that are made on the field. And normally you don't make. I've never seen a double play like that before, but that's not too often where a runner's stopped in the middle. Have you, Gary? You've been in the booth a long time.
I've seen it where a second baseman will run a guy back toward first, make the throw, and then they get the guy in the rundown.
Run him back.
Hunter flies one to shallow left, and Cabrera goes out to Cole and puts it away for the second out.
I have been very impressed all spring and now the early going of this season with Cabrera's play at short. He's solid.
And you know, we only talk about guys at shortstop on the ground ball. We never talk about going back on that little humpback line or a little pop up and making that play. He makes it look easy.
Yes, he does. So 2 out, Ruiz at first, and here's Peter Borges sitting 8th in the order. Borges 1 for 4 with a double last night. And he takes a slider off the plate from Harvey. Matt, in his first start against the Royals, looked like his mechanics were a little out of sync, and he even said as much after the game.
I think his mechanics have been out of sync for about 2.5 weeks now. He just hasn't gotten where every pitch is precise, exactly where he wants to be. What separates Matt from all the other power?
Ruiz takes off unexpectedly and runs into an out. That was really odd. Chooch caught stealing. Sorry, Ronnie, didn't mean to cut you off, but that was shocking.
We'll take care of it next time. It was shocking.
That gets Harvey through the top of the second. NY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Big day for the sunglasses. On a bright sunny day in New York, temperature right around 45 degrees.
Sunday afternoon in New York.
Lucas Duda leads off the home second against Jeremy Hellickson.
Did Vito play that Bobby Darin tune? I may have missed it.
No.
Sunday in New York?
No, but I hummed a few bars earlier.
I know.
Might have heard that.
You're in a far cry from Bobby Darin.
Well, I sure hope so.
Got the same hair.
Mets have now gone 11 straight innings without scoring a run after getting shut out last night. Duda 2 for 6 in this series. And Duda gets the full shift treatment against every team, but the Phillies this year under new general manager have become a team that shifts against just about everybody.
Yeah.
Duda pops one up into shallow center, and again Herrera has to shade his eyes and overcomes Hunter to help. And Herrera needed that help because he didn't have a good angle on it with the sun. So 1 out and nobody on. Neil Walker coming up. By the way, I didn't know this until I read this morning. You know, Peter Borges is playing right field for the Phillies. He had never played a major league game at any position other than center field until this season.
It makes sense to me. I mean, because he's always had that great speed, and he is a great defensive center fielder, but they don't want to move Herrera out of that position.
And now it makes more sense. Remember that play last night that he kind of botched and then he had to slide at the last moment? It makes sense now that he's still getting used to reading the angles off the bat at the corner, which is obviously a lot tougher than playing center field.
And it's tough wind last night. It wasn't as windy as it was supposed to be, but nevertheless, it's swirling in here, and it's April winds. Good breaking ball right there.
Neil Walker 2 for 8 in the series, has driven in a couple of runs.
There you go. Nice steady easy breeze.
7 miles an hour out of the northwest, and Walker pops it up. And another chance for Hunter. 2 out.
Hitting a lot of balls in the air lately. You're starting to see more pitchers. There's Michael Conforto coming up, who's off to a terrific start. A lot more pitchers now throwing upstairs. Now, a lot of the hitters today do not get on top of the high pitch.
Here's Michael Conforto with 2 out and nobody on. Conforto 2 for 7 in this series, and he takes the curveball for a strike. Jeremy Hellickson just turned 29 years of age on Friday.
Des Moines, Iowa native.
He was a great basketball star in high school. In fact, the University of Iowa recruited him. They wanted him to play basketball and baseball. He actually committed to play just baseball at LSU, but then didn't go. He was drafted in the 4th round by Tampa Bay and signed out of high school.
Tough to play basketball and baseball in college, overlapping seasons.
Tony Gwynn did it. Kenny Lofton did it. But there aren't too many
pitchers, though.
Yeah,
pitching is a different craft.
Oh, 2 to Conforto.
It's not that bad.
No,
it's not that bad.
The 2 youngsters, Nola and Velasquez, those guys are going to be really good.
It is. This is not a. This is a decent starting 5.
Well, so far their starters have a 2.93 ERA. It's the bullpen that's been of concern for the Phils.
And last year their starters ERA was over 5, so they had nowhere to go but up. But it's nice to see some young stars for them.
Oh, good. Conforto goes down on the breaking ball, and Hellickson has his first strikeout. So Jeremy Hellickson picking up where Vince Velasquez left off last night. He's retired the first 6 Mets. No score after 2 at Citi Field. First, watch the Mets take on the Giants at 1:10. The first 15,000 fans will receive a pair of Curtis Granderson baseball socks presented by East Coast Power and Gas. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Met Dash. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays.
Curtis always wearing those pant legs up high.
Peter Borges was at the plate when Carlos Ruiz was thrown out on an odd steal attempt in the second inning. I mean, I'm trying to go over in my mind what Chooch could have been thinking. You're not playing hit and run there with 2 out and a runner at first and the pitcher on deck. So, I mean, he's got 21 steals in 11 years in his career. It's not like it's something he does often.
And also, if he steals it, he can walk Borges and pitch to the pitcher, right? Although Hellickson is a good athlete, as you said.
Hide the Red Bull.
Boy, Harvey throwing. He had that changeup he threw to Maikel Franco. He's tried to do it there to Borges. That seems to be one of his weapons against right-handed hitters. That good gas away and that changeup down.
Well, you never used to see that.
Never.
Right-handers throwing changeups to right-hand batters. Why is that different?
Rusty told me, he said, you don't throw slow hooks or changeups to right-handed hitters. Don't you ever? And then he proceeded to hit me on the shin with his bat.
But why do you think that's changed?
Why has it changed? That's an interesting question. I think that I used to love to throw a sinker in on right-handed hitters and then couple that with a split finger down and in. So it's the same concept.
But the split finger is different than a straight change.
Yeah, you're right about
that. It's different than a change.
Borges hits one slowly. Tough play for right against Borges' speed. And off the bag is Duda, and Borges is safe. It'll be an infield hit for Peter Borges.
Well, nothing David can do here. Throws in up the line. He still might have beat it here. But a clean pick barehanded. David's very adept at that.
He's already made one of those in this series.
As opposed to that first game where he had it on all 5 fingers, though. This time he got it into kind of a four-seam grip, but still didn't get a lot on it.
So the Phillies have their second hit. Hellickson, who's a pretty good hitter, will go up there and show bunt.
And I must say, it's a bunt situation here. And we had the commissioner in the booth and a wonderful interview with him. We forgot to ask him because he's made some comments about the DH and making the DH in the National League. And I just hope it doesn't happen.
Well, he made those comments in the winter, and there was such a strong reaction, he kind of walked them back a couple of days later.
Let's just I just like having the joker in the deck, and I don't mean that in any way derogatory. The pitcher, he's got to bunt a guy over, more managerial moves. He might get a base hit to win a ball game. Look at Jim Bunning in that game.
Well, it stays foul. 0-2 to Hellickson. Hellickson spent the first 5 years of his career in the American League and then came over to the National League last year. Now, a guy who hasn't hit in all that time normally is not going to perform very well, but he hit over 200 last year, which is always a benchmark for a pitcher.
He swings and lines one into right center for a base hit. Borges will go first to third. So Hellickson has his second hit in 3 at-bats this season. Able to swing away with 2 strikes, and the Phillies have first and third and nobody out.
Wow. Ball's down, out over the plate.
There's another slider that Matt threw in that at-bat that didn't break a lot. It's almost to me like he's throwing it too hard, not giving it a chance to break. And what Hellickson does is he really gets a real short stroke and just kind of plays pepper with that ball.
So a chance for Freddie Galvis to get the first run of the game in. Galvis flied out to left his first time up.
It's interesting. I was going over the stats, and Galvis, after flying out his first at bat, now 7 for 15 off Harvey and DeGrom. Pretty good numbers, right?
Jeremy Hellickson is putting the jacket on at first base, and again there are some murmurs of boos from the crowd. Love it. It's become a thing.
I love it.
Nothing wrong with wearing a jacket.
Don't tell that to your partner here.
So if Lucas Duda is not going to hold the runner on, why doesn't he play a little bit behind the runner?
Maybe afraid of a bunt from Galvis.
Driven to left center. Over comes Conforto to make the grab. Borges tags. He'll score without a throw. It's a sacrifice fly for Freddie Galvis, and the Phillies grab a 1-0 lead.
Very wisely done by Conforto, who continues to do all the right things as far as his left field play is concerned. As far as throwing the bases, no chance to throw out the speedy Borges at third. Just concede it, keep the runner out of scoring position.
So a run is in, 1 out and 1 on, and now Duda will play behind Hellickson as Cesar Hernandez steps in. And Hernandez, who stroked one inside the third base bag for a base hit his first time up, fouls one off to start his second at bat. Odubel Herrera on deck. We're going to have a real treat in the bottom of this inning. We're going to be joined by the documentary maker Ken Burns, who has a new Jackie Robinson documentary out. And the Mets unable to turn 2. As Hernandez with good speed able to beat the back end. They settle for the 4-6 force play for the second out.
Well, the Mets turned 3 double plays on opening night in Kansas City and easily beats it to first base.
The Phillies have some speed at the top of this lineup with Galvis and Hernandez and Herrera, and then Borges down in the 8-hole. All guys that can run. Herrera popped up his first time up. Hernandez stole a base in the first inning today. This is Matt's 9th career start against the Phillies. He's gotten victories in 6 of the first 8. 6 wins against the Phillies, that's twice as many as he has against any other team. So he has dominated the Phils.
6 of his 25, right? I have to say, with watching the Mets pitchers, talented group threw over so often, much easier in my day, because if I threw over, I knew I was throwing over. You don't know you're throwing over until you look into the catcher and he puts the sign to throw over. So, you know, when I would throw over, I knew that that rhythm was not going to affect my pitching. You might be ready to pitch if you're Matt. You get the sign to throw over. Oh, okay, throw over and then back. You have to reset yourself to the hitter.
With that fastball by Herrera.
You had one of the quickest moves of any right-hander that I played with. Joaquin Andahar was another one. It was very quick over to first base. It's all the footwork. It's all the foot speed.
That, and also you being able to, first couple of years that I played, put your glove right on the bag, and you could have that left foot in foul territory. Really helped.
Oh, 2. And Herrera fouls it off. I mean, before they made Keith obey the rule.
It was just Whitey that did that. No one else that tried to enforce that.
It says in the rule book, other than the catcher, the other 8 players have to be in fair territory.
That's right.
It was
past Whitey.
It was a team that relied on stolen bases. It made me get both feet in fair territory, and I couldn't make the tag I like to make.
That's right.
That rat. That's the 0-2. Take it on. I mean, there's gamesmanship, and then there's knowing the rule book cold.
Yes.
It's also trading away one of your best players and watching the team flourish. It's that one too.
1-2 from Harvey. And Herrera hits one toward the middle. Oh, playing him perfectly. Does the spinorama and throws him out. Good positioning. Good play by Cabrera. And the Phillies get just the 1 run in the 3rd. When we come back for the bottom of the 3rd, Ken Burns will join us in the booth to talk about his new Jackie Robinson documentary. Coming up on Jackie Robinson Day, which is Friday, April 15th, the anniversary of Jackie Robinson's historic debut in the major leagues in 1947. And of course, Jackie Robinson memorialized in the rotunda here at Citi Field. And Ken Burns, who has already made the definitive documentary on baseball, has a new documentary specifically devoted to Jackie Robinson. Ken, great to see you today.
It's great to see you, Gary. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about what your goal was in making this documentary.
Well, you know, I think Jackie was in 8 of the 9 episodes, or innings as we call them, in the 1994 series. But it's a mythological portrait that we tend to tell, and he's sort of imprisoned by that mythology. And what we felt we had the opportunity to do was sort of liberate him from that mythology, tell the correct and accurate story with a lot of undertow, and get to the real person. And he's much more heroic than he would ever seem to be. It's a wonderful story. So on 2 nights, tomorrow and Tuesday, we tell the complete story of Jackie Robinson, not just birth to his arrival in '47, but what he did later in his baseball career. And the really unknown is what he did after baseball as a civil rights leader.
When you started this project and you started accumulating all the knowledge that you would put into this documentary, what was the one thing that you didn't know that surprised you or made you really pay attention to?
Well, this film was made, co-produced and co-directed by Sarah Burns and David McMahon, and I don't think there was a day when we didn't go, my goodness, we didn't know that. For example, the very famous moment in which Pee Wee Reese is supposed to have put his arm around Jackie at a visit to Crosley Field never happened. It was not in the papers, not in his autobiography, not in the African-American press, which would have run 20 stories. And Rachel, his widow, said, you know, when they were going to build a statue, I said, please use a different picture. So, you know, a lot of these mythologies grow up, and they're like barnacles encrusting the story. And I think it's time to tell a complete picture. And you realize he's the first real true progress in civil rights across the country after the Civil War. I mean, when he came up, Martin Luther King was a junior in college. Harry S. Truman hadn't integrated the military. There was no Brown versus Board of Education. Rosa Parks was a decade away from refusing to give up her seat. So he is, as Dr. King said, a sit-inner before sit-ins and a freedom rider before freedom rides. And this is a story that is a great baseball story. He's the most important person in the history of baseball. His number is retired in all 30 stadiums, and nobody can wear his number after Mariano retired. But then this Friday, everyone has to wear his number. And it's a story that transcends sports, too, because it is so marked with the civil rights progress.
So Lecky yanks one foul down the line.
Ken, was it something that you looked to do coming out of the baseball series, or was it something that was brought to your attention to do?
You know, Ron, to be honest, we hadn't really thought it. It wasn't on our radar, but Rachel, his widow, who's nearing 94 and is herself a formidable, remarkable human being who's carried on the torch of Jackie Robinson through his foundation and now a museum that's hoping to open soon in Lower Manhattan. She just kept pressing me and said, you know, he deserves standalone treatment. And I said, you know, you're right. And finally, Sarah Burns and David McMahon and I were finishing a film and realized there was some daylight, so we agreed to do it. And I'm so glad we did, because I think that in some ways we'd helped publish and print the legend before, and now it's very helpful to tell a story that will, I think, blow your mind. It'll blow anybody's mind who's interested in baseball, and anyone's mind who's interested in the United States and heroism.
What was Rachel's reaction?
Well, you know, she gave us 3 interviews. She's pushing 94, and I guess we interviewed her when she was 90 and 91, and she sat and looked at the first episode and was just thrilled because it was, you know, telling a less familiar story about familiar events. And the second half, she was just sort of stunned. And so she's been on the road with us helping to promote it. She's indefatigable. Just saw her the other night at an event at the New York Times celebrating the Jackie Robinson Foundation and showing clips from the film. And she was there, you know, just an amazing human being.
Do you think, I know Jackie died very younger than he should have, and if he had lived longer, with the full civil rights movement, he probably would have had a much greater impact.
Oh, I think so. And his impact is so great today because we interviewed the President and First Lady, and they realized that he opened a door that no African American had gone through before, and that they've gone through, and that they were very honoring of his memory. But, you know, I think about that all the time when I see Rachel, Keith, because, you know, what if he'd lived to be 94? And he'd be like Dr. King and Nelson Mandela and Abraham Lincoln and Gandhi all rolled into one.
Bronco throws out Pilecki for the second out.
I know one of the projects you were working before on was the Central Park 5.
Yes.
So all these things dealing with Jackie and after his career. Race relations, very complicated. And was it a natural segue to go from Central Park 5 to do the Jackie?
Very much so, and thank you, because Sarah Burns and David McMahon, who are the co-directors and co-producers of this, and I, you know, sort of feel that race is at the center. We don't like to talk about it in America, but it's the center of American history. We were founded under the idea that all men are created equal, but oops, the guy who wrote it owned a lot of human beings, and so Americans are struggling still to deal with that. And so I think it's good to tell complete stories. I don't go looking for it. It's just there in American history, and almost all the films, the nearly 30 films I've made over the last 40 years, nearly all of them have something to do with race at some level, at some point. And clearly, something like Jackie Robinson does, or the Central Park 5 does, but it's there everywhere. And I think Americans would tend to run away from it, and it's something we should run to too. You know, like a dying fly ball.
You know, I'm sure every project has its own rewards with all the things that you've done, going back to the Civil War and all the other great documentaries that you made. How does this rank in terms of your enjoyment and the way it's gone?
This is the most, and I wasn't going to say this, but this is the most satisfying project that I've worked on to date, because with Central Park 5, Sarah Burns is my oldest daughter, and David McMahon, who's sitting in the stands with my granddaughter, is my son-in-law. And so the idea that we could tell a very complex, multi-generational portrait of a family, the Robinsons, with our family, made it really, really satisfying.
Ken Burns, so good to talk to you, and we really look forward to seeing this documentary.
Yeah, tomorrow night and Tuesday night on PBS.
Great. Wonderful. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Gary.
Okay, great to see you again.
Ken Burns.
Thank you.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow night. Maybe you can DVR it after, watch it after the Mets game is over. By the 2017 Audi A4 and your tri-state Audi dealers.
Well, it's been interesting to watch Matt through these first 3 innings. He's only given up a run, but Keith, you and I were talking in the break there. He's just not right. You know, he's such a well-oiled machine when he's got it working, and it's just not in gear yet.
Michael Franco leads off and swings over the curveball. Franco struck out his first time up, the only strikeout for Harvey. So Matt's now worked 8 2/3 innings this year and struck out 3. So there's something a little out of whack in those numbers.
Well, maybe that's the sign. You know, when he's got it going, you know, he's going to strike out a batter an inning.
Last year, 188 strikeouts and 189 innings. To your point. Ryan Howard on deck, then Carlos Ruiz in the 4th. Meanwhile, the Mets haven't had a base runner against Jeremy Hellickson. and have not scored now in 13 consecutive innings. Of course, this is the circumstance that Matt has gotten used to pitching in over the course of his Mets career. Lack of support from his offense and at times from his bullpen as he taps one towards short. Cabrera on the backhand and throws out Franco one away.
When you're at home and you're watching Matt's motion, just watch his right hip. He does something very interesting that I don't see on a lot of pitchers. Everything is pretty relaxed, but when he hits the ground with that left leg, watch that right hip. See how it raises and almost comes up about 6 inches? The reason, I'm not saying the reason it happens, it's a natural thing that he does, but what it gives him is a little height advantage. So as he's about to release the ball, it propels him up 2 or 3 inches, so he gets on top of it. He has a great angle from top to bottom. Everyone does it a little different. He does it with his right hip.
There's Ryan Howard, who walked his first time up. Do you think that that makes his mechanics easier, harder, or has no impact on his ability to maintain what he's trying to do?
I think it's a natural way that he throws, so it's not something that he tried to engineer and say, I'm going to raise my right hip a little and get really that right glute into my motion. That's just a natural way that he throws, but it does help him get that angle on the baseball when he's dominating from top to bottom. So he's got that good angle. It's hard for the hitter to see.
So it's almost like he's 6'7" instead of 6'4".
There you go.
Does that make sense to you as a hitter, Keith, that the pitcher is getting that ball up at a higher angle and that gives him some kind of advantage?
Gare, the guys that I can only speak for myself. The good
strikes out, and there's the second of the day for Harvey.
Yeah, let's face it, this is Harvey now into his 4th inning, and he's starting to get, it's like getting into a rhythm here.
See the hip here. You can see it parallel to the ground, and as he dips, see how low it is? But what he does is when he releases it, that power lifts his right hip up, brings that right leg around, and that's where he gets most of his power. He's very strong from the belt down.
Well, he's throwing 97 and 96 here. That's rushing it up there pretty good.
What's so interesting is that he's got that very strong lower half. Like Tom Seaver had a strong lower half, but Seaver was all about getting down.
But if you saw in that super slow-mo, right before he brings that right hip up, he looks like Seaver. He's very low to the ground for a guy that's 6'4". But that hip gets him on top of it. Now Syndergaard, you were saying, he's so big he does it just naturally by standing tall. DeGrom does it with a whip-like kind of motion.
It's a good inning for Harvey here. Seaver and Koosman got down real low, and I found that those guys, Gary, Seaver used to get the dirt on his back leg, on his knee, and so did Koosman. That when they threw up and in, it made their ball look like it was really elevating.
2-2 to Ruiz. And a comebacker. Harvey with plenty of time to recover. And he's got himself his first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon. So Harvey just getting into gear. Mets down 1-0 as they come up in the bottom of the 4th. that come to bat in the bottom of the fourth. Top of the batting order coming up, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, a lot of talk and controversy really over the last couple of days about what happened with the Dodgers on Friday night. Ross Stripling making his major league debut, 5 outs away from pitching a no-hitter. Manager Dave Roberts pulls him out of the game after 100 pitches. Now, if Roberts was questioning his decision at all, he probably isn't anymore. Yesterday morning, when he was leaving the team hotel to go to the ballpark, Ross Stripling's father actually approached him and with tears in his eyes thanked the manager for what he did. Ross Stripling, just 2 years removed from Tommy John surgery, and his father Hayes thanked Dave Roberts for protecting his son's arm. How about that?
Well, I think that in the way the game is played now, Roberts' decision was a total no-brainer.
I don't see
think
where
there's any manager in the game who would have done it differently.
I honestly don't see where the controversy is. I mean, I guess because he had a no-hitter, but I mean, very few pitchers go past 100 pitches, so there's 15 more per inning.
Off the fist from Granderson. And Franco, the third baseman playing on the right side, throws him out.
So if he got 5 more outs, that's 22 pitches or so. That brings him to 122. It's not going to happen. We saw it happen here, of course, with Johan.
Different. Veteran pitcher.
That's right.
Yeah.
Different thing.
I mean, this was a kid who had Tommy John surgery 2 years before. Had never thrown as many as 80 pitches in a spring training game this year. There's no way they were going to let him go past 100.
And there's also the consideration that there's an enormous opportunity to make a lot of money and be financially secure the rest of your life.
But if you've decided to change how you're going to treat your pitchers, and decided to change the game, well, folks out there, when you watch the game, you're watching a different game. Right. You've got to get used to it.
Well, that's the thing, you know, and John Harper made this point in his column today. If you want pitchers to go past 100, go past 7 innings, you got to teach them to do that in the minor leagues, and nobody's doing that. On the contrary, they're teaching them to go 4 or 5 innings in the minor leagues. David Wright grounded out his first time up.
You know, I'll make the argument that the Stripling game is going to happen more often than you think now as we move ahead.
Yeah, the circumstances have to be perfect for a pitcher to throw a no-hitter now.
Chris Heston.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a low pitch count. You have to be that kind of guy. If you're a high strikeout guy, there's almost no chance that you're going to throw a no-hitter now. You strike out 13 or 14 guys, you're just going to have too many pitches to get to 9 innings.
Telling you what, Hellickson looks really sharp. It's the best I've ever seen him pitch.
Hellickson's interesting because he's a strong kid, even though he's not as tall as Matt. But he is straight up and down, does not push off, really just uses all arm to throw the ball up there. You couldn't even tell if he's trying to throw the ball 90 or 60 there.
Two to right. David shatters his bat. And that'll land untouched.
You know what I think is going to really help Jeremy, though, is that Bob McClure, who I really like, is a good communicator. He always had, his pitch was his curveball. See this break David's bat. Boy, that got way up and on his hands in the kitchen, cocina. But he had a good curveball when he pitched. That's only going to help Hellickson learn how to use his curveball a little better within a game. Because I think what separates him from being a solid starter in the major leagues is the ability to throw the breaking ball. Changeup's good, fastball sneaky.
See, imagine if Bob had taught Keith the curveball when they were growing up.
I had to face him in Babe Ruth. And he had that pickoff move back in high school. Yes, he did.
That's looking for their first base runner. This is Hellickson's second 3-ball count of the day. And right takes strike 3 called. Fastball in the corner. And that's the 4th strikeout for Hellickson.
Well, David continues to get off to a sluggish start. And this is around the 3rd time he's been called on the outside corner fastball, Ron, against a right-hander. called third strike.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you get jammed like you did in this at bat, do you start looking in a little more?
No, you definitely, with two strikes, you got to bear down. We've seen more hitters guess now than ever before, and I feel, and I don't know what David was looking for, but when a lot of called third strikes.
Here's Cespedes. Well, you've got a pitcher like Hellickson who is trying to evolve, right? He's throwing more cutters than before. He's throwing more curveballs than before. So if you're a hitter trying to educate yourself about a pitcher and you've got a pitcher who is evolving, I would think it's got to be that much harder to guess. Cespedes dumps one into right field, and the Mets finally have their first base runner of the game after Hellickson had retired 11 in a row. 2-out single for Cespedes.
Well, they tried to get Cespedes to go to right field. He's been a little bit full so far in this early season. There's your fastball right there, right down the pipe. And when you're struggling early or any time during the season, it's normally you're pulling the ball too much. You've got to work the opposite field, the opposite gap, I should say. So there's always a beginning to break out.
So the Mets have their first base runner. Hellickson will have to pitch out of the stretch for the first time. Tying run at first and 2 out for Duda, who flied to left. Now Hellickson is very slow to the plate. We saw that with Chris Young in Kansas City. David Wright stole a couple of bases against him. Don't know if the Mets are going to be inclined to do the same against Hellickson.
You know, Gary, I don't know if this was your point, but as Freddie Galvis comes in to talk to his pitcher, but you have so much data today that you might have the book on Hellickson, but if he's evolving, the book might be passé.
Right. I mean, you can get all the stats you want, you can look at all the video you want, but if he's changing his mindset, maybe you're not quite up to date.
Was talking with Matt Stairs prior to the game, and after his first start with Hellickson, pitched really well against the Reds. Nice changeup right there, good sinking change. Said Hellickson had trouble, Ronnie, pitching out of the stretch. There you see he's kind of choking that ball there.
Well, he has absolutely no push off out of the windup. He has even less out of the stretch. That's probably why.
See, he's going quick home, Ron. No leg kick, right?
He's working on that too.
Yeah, so that's probably why he's having a, you know, it's part of Gary saying his evolution as a pitcher.
Stuck in that American League East forever, where no one's stealing bases. A little different game here in the National League.
He's been traded twice the last 2 winters, each time for minor leaguers. He's looked at as a stopgap in Philadelphia, 1-year deal, but it's off to a good start. 2-2 now to Duda.
So all slow stuff. If I'm Hellickson right now, all changeups, all breaking balls. Fastball in is the pitch.
Up and in. Nicely done. What a nice angle that is. Oh, we got a pickoff move.
Almost caught. You wound up sleeping there for a second.
Well, it hasn't gotten warm.
It is cold.
That's right. There's no sleeping in baseball.
That's what the off season's for.
I like this.
Changeup misses and a full count to Duda. Well, after all the slow stuff, what does he get? 3-2.
I thought he was going to go hard fastball inside, and if he missed 2-2, you can come back with a 3-2 changeup.
I'd go after him right here. I don't want to face Walker with men on base.
Good call.
So now Howard moves behind Sets, but this will be running on 3-2. And Duda gets a little cutter there. Here's today's Verizon trivia question. Jeremy Hellickson, Rookie of the Year in the American League in 2011, one of 4 starting pitchers since 1969 to win that AL Rookie of the Year. Who are the other 3?
So 69's got to be one of the years.
Nope.
Nope. No.
Nope. That's just in their tree. They're all big names. Again, the 3-2. And right down the middle, he got a fastball, and he couldn't pull the trigger. And Hellickson has his 5th strikeout. After all the slow stuff on the 7th pitch of the at-bat, he freezes Duda with the fastball. Ford dealers who invite you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package.
Good shot there, right?
Sunny day in New York.
It's looking uptown from Soho.
Cedric Hunter leads off and takes a curveball for a strike from Matt Harvey as we start the 5th inning.
Matt's got a good curveball working today.
He's faced 16 hitters, 15 first pitch strikes.
Nice.
Comes back with a changeup and gets ahead on Hunter. 0-2. You know, last year when he first came back from Tommy John surgery, his curveball became his primary breaking pitch.
Yeah, and he kind of did not have a feel for the slider.
Hunter pops it up. Walker has trouble finding it in the sun and gives way to Cespedes, who makes the catch.
Very good communication right there. 3 guys are involved on this play, and the traffic cop is your center fielder. You can see that Walker's having a little bit of issue here. Cabrera calls off Walker, so Cespedes, look at that, calls off Cabrera. That's how it's done.
You know what you notice when you're watching games, you're not in the booth. Last night I thought to myself, he's got a blue glove. But when Harvey pitched on Sunday night, he had a calfskin glove, a light brown glove, where he made the error there to left field. Now he's to the blue glove, hasn't made it ever since.
Walker throws out Borges for the 2nd out. Well, he's got the different sleeves.
Well, remember we were saying that glove on opening night looked like it wasn't completely broken. Now it might have been, I'm sure it was, but
it's got the canary sleeve on.
Yeah, it's important. Does it go with the orange and the blue and the?
Well, especially with the racing stripe now. maybe it's a little out of sync. Of course, it's got the orange on the left wrist and the canary sleeve on the right arm. Here's Hellickson with a base hit his first time up that helped create the Phillies run. Infield hit for Borges. Hellickson couldn't get down a bunt, and then with 2 strikes swung away and got a base hit. And then Borges scored on a sacrifice fly, and that's been it.
Really quickly, I think what I was saying to see Galvis on deck is that when you come back from Tommy John surgery, and John Smoltz, of course, who came back from it, love to listen to him, is that sometimes you come back and your breaking pitch that you used to know is no longer there. So Matt used the curveball last year. The last 2 innings, he's gone to the curveball again. He's going to maybe have to find a different kind of slider than the one he had in 2013 when he dominated.
Well, let me ask you this. Does he need a slider if he has a good curveball?
I think that on any course of the night, yeah, I would love to see him with a good slider. And I've never seen a pitcher When they have both working, the curveball and slider, that's the no-hit stuff for a guy like Harvey. But usually you only have one working, the slider or the curveball. You go with that, identify that early in the game.
Hellickson hits one slowly. Cabrera waits on it. Hellickson does not run. And that makes it easier for Cabrera to throw him out. And Harvey's now retired 9 in a row. Harvey in rhythm. So's the Bulldog. Look at that beauty.
Oh. Winston.
Gangrene get a breakdown of the biggest question heading into the season, plus what Matt Forte will bring to the Jets backfield after the loss of Chris Ivory on the season premiere of Jets Nation tonight at 7, only on SNY. Your forward 5th inning recap. It's been a pitcher's day so far. Jeremy Hellickson's had the upper hand. Jets have now gone 14 straight innings without a run. Matt Harvey gave up a run on a sac fly in the 3rd, and that has been it. After the Phillies won 1-0 last night, they lead 1-0 today. Neil Walker will lead off the bottom of the 5th. First, let's check in with Steve.
The Mets do something pretty great here every home game after the 2nd inning. They honor a veteran of the game. And today's veteran, pretty remarkable guy, 94-year-old Max Gelfand. He was presented a American flag by Noah Syndergaard during that recognition today. And Max Gelfand fought in World War II, Battle of Normandy, Battle of the Bulge, was part of the team that helped to liberate Dachau concentration camp. So pretty remarkable what he was able to do. And one of the really interesting parts about his story during World War II is he always carried around with him 2 baseball mitts, and he has those mitts today. Actually gave me one of the gloves right here, which I have on my hand. It's still in pretty good condition, actually, if you take a look at it, from the 1940s. But he said that the baseball catches that he would have with his fellow soldiers and the baseball games they would play in between battle were so important during World War II. For one thing, there was just some normalcy in an otherwise extraordinary situation. But beyond that, it's such an American game that it was a real sense of patriotism to be able to play that game. As great catch there, actually, in left field by Hunter, who robs Neil Walker of a hit. Just to wrap up this story, the patriotism with playing baseball was one thing, but it also brought together people from so many different backgrounds. As he put it, a Jewish kid from Brooklyn now had something in common with a farm boy from the Midwest. And today, Max Gelfand, 25 family members at the game today, including his 7 grandkids.
Wow. One of those World War II vets, hard to be cherished. That greatest generation is getting up there in age, and it is great to have Max and his family here today.
Most of that greatest generation generation grew up as kids in the Great Depression.
Michael Conforto up with 1 out after a tremendous play by Cedric Hunter in left field. Conforto struck out his first time up, one of 5 strikeouts for Jeremy Hellickson this afternoon. Mets have had just 1 base runner, an opposite field single by Cespedes with 2 out in the 4th. So right now this Mets offense is on brownout. No runs, 3 hits last night, no runs, 1 hit today.
Well, we continue to see quality at bats from the very young Michael Conforto here. Tremendous knowledge of the strike zone, tremendous patience, ahead of the game.
And Hellickson deals inside. Cutter from Hellickson to fall behind 3-1.
He was throwing that cutter in his first start against Cincinnati for strikes much more often, not this afternoon.
Went 6 innings in that first start, gave up an unearned run on 3 hits. Didn't walk a batter, hasn't walked a batter today. And he still has not given up a hit to a left-hand batter this season. So he's doing something right against those lefties. Between that cutter and the changeup.
Went through Joey Votto in that first game. That's always tough.
Votto off to a slow start.
Let's see that pitch right there to Conforto. Keith called it. 3-1 change.
And young hitter, when you're young, you want to sink your teeth into a 3-1 fastball. You got a control pitcher out there, you're not going to get it. That was what Jim Lombard was for me early in my career when he pitched for the Phillies, and he was in the shadow of himself when he was with the Red Sox and Cy Young in '67.
And seeing
yes, with Joe St. John to boot. If you're going to go down, it's a wonderful way to go down. He would throw me. He would not throw me a 3-1 or 2-0 fastball.
Yeah.
And a fastball inside, ball 4. Tried to surprise Conforto the way he did Duda, but he missed with it, and the Mets have their second base runner of the day. First walk of the season issued by Hellickson. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. The other 3 starting pitchers to win the American League Rookie of the Year since 1969.
Wyleven?
No. One of them I grew up hitting against when I was a kid, Mark Fidrich.
Getty and Verlander were the others, so no one-hit wonders there. Well, Fidrich.
But he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah. But you know, for a guy who flamed out quickly in his career, nobody had a better time in his brief moment in the sun than Mark Fidrich. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, who struck out his first time up.
Good up and in fastball.
Of course, Fidrich died far too young.
Yes, he did. Tragically.
Yeah.
Underneath
working on his truck.
Yes, and something, a piece of a necktie or something, or a scarf got caught in the mechanism, and that was the end of it.
Cabrera hits one out to right field, and Borges has room onto the warning track. Takes it back near the wall to make the catch. That ball kept traveling off the bat of Cabrera.
He got it in just enough, Gary.
Off the bat, it looked like Borges was going to have routine play, but he needed all of that right center field gap.
Total focus on the ball. Very nice. Our camera crew, I tell you what, they're spot on.
Doesn't matter what the temperature is. They're not sleeping. Here's Plawecki in his first at bat of the season. In the 3rd inning, he grounded out. Travis d'Arnaud played every inning of the first 4 games, as he did the entire postseason last year. Plawecki never got on the field in any of those postseason games. Bat goes flying, ball goes to 3rd, and Franco with a low throw handled by Howard, and that retires the side.
Well,
Mets continue to sputter on offense, but the Dogs, they look great.
I love the 2-2.
The amazing NYC car by Tri-State Ford.
Rained out in D.C. yesterday, which has affected their pitching for the series that starts here tomorrow night. Freddie Galvis leads off the 6th inning and takes a strike.
We're going to see their best 3 now, though.
Well, Jared Cozart will go tomorrow, and then Jose Fernandez on Tuesday. Mets never saw Fernandez last year after he came back from Tommy John. Just missed him every series. Right. And then Wei-Yin Chen, the lefty, on Wednesday. That'll be the first left-hand start of the Mets face this season.
And that is a day game on Wednesday.
Mets will have Matz Monday, Syndergaard Tuesday, and then probably Logan Verrett on Wednesday, taking DeGrom's spot.
That's a heck of a matchup Tuesday night then.
Yeah, Fernandez, Syndergaard.
Oh, can't wait.
That could be.
I may have to let Ron take the whole broadcast.
To both pitch and hit.
Galvis is driven in the only run of this game with a line drive sacrifice fly in the 3rd. Meanwhile, the Mets have now gone 15 straight innings without a run. And we say them, the guys in the truck play them. They're your city probables for the series that starts tomorrow night.
So who touched up Fernandez the first time out? I forgot.
They opened in Detroit, right?
I believe so, yeah.
That's a formidable lineup.
Sure is.
But some of the best pitchers in the game will be getting lit up here in April. Zach Greinke.
Only the most highly paid of the 2015 free agent class. There's a good off-speed pitch by Harvey to get Galvis.
That was the first real hard slider he's thrown today. Watch this ball dart inside the last second.
Good location.
Third strikeout for Matt today. And now Cesar Hernandez is 1 for 2. And he thinks about a bunt. So we saw both Galvis and Hernandez show bunt. I wonder, will David Wright's back problems cause teams to do that more than they would otherwise this year?
Even if you don't bunt, the fake gets them moving. You know, it gets them coming in, going back.
I think it's the quality of the starting five.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you gotta scratch out runs against this starting rotation.
It's the best I've seen Harvey look now the last 3 innings.
Yes.
Working quick, no nonsense. Every pitch has a purpose.
He's now retired 10 in a row. But this is another one of those games that Matt has had a ton of them over the course of his career where he just gets no run support. You know, Matt has 22 no decisions in his career. His ERA in those 22 no decisions is 2.04, which is the lowest of any starting pitcher in the last century.
I believe it. Yeah. We've been here for the games.
Now, you know, some of those have been lack of run support. Some of those have been games blown by the bullpen. But he has had more than his share of games where he's pitched wonderfully and not gotten a win. 3-2. Bounce foul.
Got a no decision in that perfect game for 7 innings against the White Sox, didn't he?
Yes, he went 10. Only got a no decision in his last start on the mound here.
That's true.
Left with the lead in that game. Line the other way, a base hit for Hernandez. And so that snaps the string of 10 in a row retired by Harvey. That's 6 hits in the series for Cesar Hernandez.
Well, we were talking about Matt Harvey's mechanics. Watch the 2 pitchers. Hellickson on the left. No push off really, but you see their leg kick very high for Hellickson, compact for Harvey. And when they follow through, you will see Hellickson end up in a good fielding position because he does not push off. Matt, because he's a power pitcher, almost corkscrews himself on the mound.
So 1 out and 1 on, and Odubel Herrera coming up. Our friends at Elias went back and did a little research on Harvey's Game 5 start in the World Series last year and the decision to keep him in. They went back the last 20 World Series. There were 13 times that a starting pitcher pitched 8 scoreless innings, and that pitcher was replaced to begin the 9th inning 5 of the 13 times. So the majority of the time, pitcher got a chance to start the night.
Yeah.
One other very interesting tidbit on that. If you go back to 1960, there have been 52 instances where a pitcher in a World Series game threw 8 scoreless innings. And the team that got that pitching performance lost twice. And both times, it was the Kansas City Royals who won the game. They did it against Charlie Leibrandt in 85 and in Harvey's start last year.
Matt's throwing harder now than he was in the first inning. See, the problem that happens when you are a starting pitcher and you're in these games is that you can't make another mistake. You know, you're down a run. In your own mind, you say to yourself, okay, I can get a win, but cannot give up another run.
Ahead on Herrera, 1-2. And he hits one in the air to right field. Granderson back onto the warning track, back at the wall, and it's out of here. Odubel Herrera. It's a 2-run homer. And the Phillies now have a 3-0 lead. Herrera's first home run of the season. He hit 8 as a rookie last year. And for Matt Harvey, that is a cruel blow. Trying to keep it a 1-run game, and now it's 3-0.
Not a bad pitch. It's a slider, but down and in.
Yeah.
Let's see. It broke, but not much. Just kind of a spinner, and right into a wheelhouse of a left-hand hitter. You didn't get on top of it, Ron?
Remember the pitch against Galvis ended up off the plate in. This one did not. It ended up down and in. And against left-handed hitters, all they do is drop the head of the bat on it, and it goes forever. And that was the mistake that you can't make, but it's difficult.
Herrera's an impressive young hitter. Well, there it is. That's just right for a left-hander when you go to bed at night. That's when you have nice dreams, you don't have nightmares, and you sleep soundly. That's where that's your focus.
Franco pulls one into left field, and he's got a base hit. So the Phillies with 3 straight hits now after Harvey had retired 10 in a row.
High pitch, belt high. Yes, sir. I think it was another slider, Ron, and flat.
And he was out in front, but is strong enough off the end of the bat and one-handed to flip it into left field.
So the Phillies now with 6 hits on the afternoon, and Ryan Howard will step in with 1 out and 1 on. Howard has walked and struck out today, 0 for 1. Ball and a strike to Howard.
Got the big shift on for Howard. David Wright is in the hole, and there's Logan Verrett up. You see David Wright right in between Walker and Duda.
Curveball in the dirt to Howard, 2-1. Now, Terry Collins said before the game that Verrett would be available for an inning today, and then would be able to start on Wednesday if need be. It's not locked in that it's going to be Verrett Wednesday. They could, if they DL DeGrom, then they could bring up a pitcher from the minors to start that game Wednesday. But in any event, Verrett, who has yet to get in the game, is up.
So Keith, in that shift you're talking about, David in the hole, do you do that to ensure your double play combo is still up the middle?
Yeah, I think so. You got your 2 guys there, your shortstop and your second baseman are not out of position to turn a double play. You probably wouldn't do it if there was no double play in order, a runner in second or runner in third.
And that misses, ball 4, and Howard is on. So 4 straight Phillies have now reached base. And Dan Warthen will pay a visit to the mound. This week only T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium for out-of-market games. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment of America's fastest-growing LTE network.
Where's the clock in the stadium that counts the 30-second rule here? Do we know?
Leave it.
It's dark.
Well, you can blame it on me. I gave Matt the kiss of death when I said it was the best stretch I've seen him in quite some time. And he's come to hit a wall here in the 6th inning.
Well, hasn't recovered from the home run.
Well, the 6th inning was his Waterloo against the Royals on opening night as well. Gave up 2 runs in that inning. And now he's given up 2 runs here in the 6th and in trouble for more.
3rd time through the order.
90th pitch of the afternoon from Matt, and Ruiz takes outside. Chooch is 0 for 2. He's hit 2 ground balls today, and the Mets would love another to try and get a double play and get Harvey through the inning.
Cespedes again in center field, playing dead central, right directly behind the pitcher.
That's a good pitch.
Yeah, it is. Didn't get it.
You don't see a center fielder playing dead central that often, because I would think it's hard to pick up the ball off the bat.
Exactly. You would get a little bit to the left or right to get a clear view.
But I guess the way Harvey falls off the mound, as opposed to a pitcher who comes square off the mound, he can do that. There's a strike, 2 and 2.
You see Matt falling off to the left of the mound here. First base side of the mound.
I would just be afraid, though, you don't see the initial part of the delivery. You know, he's going to clear his way, but you don't see the ball going to the batter and see that whole sequence. You'll see it at the end. He's maybe a shade to the arm side.
Line toward the middle. There's Walker to field, step and throw for the double play. And that's exactly what the Mets and Harvey needed. 4-4-3 double play gets him through the inning, but not before Odubel Herrera triples the Phillies lead. 2-run homer is first of the year, and it's 3-0 Philadelphia as we head to the bottom of the 6th. New York sports writers will debate this weekend's Mets-Phillies series, plus bring you a preview of tomorrow's opener against the Marlins on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, tomorrow at 5, only on SNY. Here's your Mets box score, presented by Dodge. Not much going on. One opposite field single by Yoenis Cespedes over the first 5 innings against Jeremy Hellickson, and that is the sum total of the Mets offense. Matt Harvey is done after 6 innings. Allowed 3 runs, 6 hits. Alejandro De Aza will bat for him as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 6th. Matt threw 94 pitches in his 6 innings of work. So it has been an uneven start to the season for Matt. De Aza walked and stole a base as a pinch hitter yesterday.
Oh, good change.
Good off-speed pitch by Hellickson, 1-1.
Excellent off-speed pitch.
Interesting. Hellickson pushing his fingers against his side like he's feeling something in his hands.
Granderson on deck, 1-2 to De Aza.
He's going a lot of off speed and secondary to De Aza here.
And that's really been the pattern the last couple of innings. Now the 2-2, and De Aza lifts one to shallow left. And Hunter two-hands it, one away. Here's Granderson. Curtis, as always, making friends wherever he goes.
You know what's interesting about that? I've seen so many different hitters. Some guys need to be locked in when they get on the on-deck circle. Some like to talk to the fans. It's all about what makes it work for you? You know,
I've never seen anybody chat with the fans in a game. No, I haven't.
Nobody smiles in the course of a day more than Curtis Granderson.
I remember Max used to get on one knee.
Yep.
And just stare at the pitcher.
Yep. Get all my pine tar put on, my rosin just perfect. Bat felt good. Get down on one knee and observe.
So you're in the on-deck circle and fans are talking to you. You're in the zone.
I'm very focused, but if I let an inning off, you can kind of wink and nod and, you know, throw a bone at him a little bit, you know.
Granderson drives one out to right center. Back goes Herrera onto the warning track to make the catch.
Wow.
Well, Granderson making a bid for his first home run of the season and coming up about 10 feet short.
It's amazing, this game of baseball, right? We've seen already Asdrubal Cabrera hitting one to the wall. The Borges just caught in front of the caught on the warning track, and then that one by Granderson. You know, the game can switch so quickly. Harvey's ball goes out, that Herrera hit, and these two balls have stayed in.
A little deeper part of the park right there.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, here's the good news for Granderson. He's 1 for 19 to start the season. He was 1 for 18 to start the season last year, and everything worked out just fine. He wasn't worried last April. I'm sure he's not worried now. Here's David Wright, who grounded out and struck out 0 for 2 today. The Mets have hit just 1 home run over these first 5 games of the season. That was Neil Walker in Kansas City. Wright drives one out to right center. Borges back in the gap, can't get to it. David on his way to second as Herrera gets the throw in, and David slides in safely with a double.
Well, Borges got caught playing a little bit too shallow.
That is David's strength, opposite field. This is right down the pipe. One of the few mistakes that Hellickson has made. And well struck. Look how shallow Borges was. You cannot play David Wright that shallow.
Well, it's Wright's second double of the series, and both have gone to right center, which is where David began his career peppering. And that have come full circle now. So the Mets have just their second hit of the day against Hellickson. And here is Cespedes, who had the first. A soft single to right in the 4th inning.
I'll get the chance going.
First time all day the Mets have had a runner as far as second base.
If this was August of last year, this would almost be surely a 2-run bomb. It seemed like he got the big hit the Mets needed in the month of June. Month of August, sorry.
17 home runs, all of them in a 31-game stretch.
And they were big.
One of the most amazing months of baseball we've ever seen.
Look how he pounds them in. Ronnie missed in first pitch, came right back in, doubled up for a strike. Some good aggressive pitching by this starting rotation of the Phils, the fighting Phils. Right back in there. 3 in a row.
It's been one of the under-noticed developments in the National League East, the influx of some very highly regarded pitching coaches, Mike Maddox in Washington, Bob McClure with the Phillies. And that changes the nature of this division a little bit.
Well, I think you make very few people are in Dan Warthen's position, where you just have these studs night in and night out. Your job now as a pitching coach, if you have a great pitcher that, you know, keep them on where they need to be, you need to get the most out of guys like Jeremy Hellickson.
Nubbed foul.
Barely got a piece of that.
And by keeping his pitch count down, Hellickson has kept the Phillies from having to go to their bullpen early, although they have a left-hander up now.
That's James Russell.
With due to do up next. Russell had a dreadful time of it here on Friday. Right at 2nd and 2 out. 1 and 2 to Cespedes.
Fastball in, Keith.
I think they're going to go away.
And the curveball skips away from Ruiz. And Wright will go to 3rd. So a wild pitch. Moves David over 90 feet.
I said away, Ron, because Cespedes has been fishing. As you see, that ball came up off the forearm of Ruiz. To see if he just threw it too much in the dirt. Because Cespedes has been prone to chase the bad breaking ball. Now comes a decision time on 2 and 2.
Pitching coaches have 30 seconds. How long do catchers have?
That's a good point.
You know, they have a rule in Japan where the catcher's only allowed to visit the mound 3 times per game. I like that. That'd be a good rule. Three infielders shift to the left side against Cespedes. Two from Hellickson. And he misses with a breaking ball, and it's 3 and 2. And it hits Cespedes' bat. It's a foul ball.
Shows me Cespedes is leaning, Ronnie.
Yeah. I mean, that's his hole. You know, everyone in the league knows that if you can throw a strike at the belt inside, advantage you.
Let him off with 3 fastballs inside. Will he double up full count? In.
8th pitch of the at bat coming from Hellickson to Cespedes. He fouls off the fastball.
Sped up his bat there with 2 consecutive fastballs in. And that one was really down the middle. He could go back to the breaking ball now.
I want to walk Cespedes if you're Hellickson. You got Duda on deck, who would be the tying run. And Hellickson might be out of the game if that's the case.
You're right. It might be the left-hander.
Again, the 3-2. And he does throw a breaking ball, and Cespedes races it foul.
Although we talked a little bit before, Gary, about the evolution of Jeremy Hellickson. You know, in his rookie year or early in his career, it might have always been a fastball 3-2. But if he's going to complete this evolution, he's got to be able to throw the slow stuff on 3-2 counts.
Pitch number 10 to Cespedes. And they'll be in 11th.
The only thing he has not thrown him yet, Keith, is the changeup.
I'd be a little reluctant to throw that.
Well, Cespedes has been at the plate long enough. Perhaps the alarm clock has gone off.
And he rockets one to deep left field. Back goes Hunter near the wall. It's out of here. Wake-up call for Yoenis Cespedes. 2-run homer gets the Mets on the board.
What a turn at bat that turned out to be.
You called it, Keith. Do not throw the changeup.
The Mets' first home run at Citi Field this season, and Cespedes' first of the year gets the Mets on the board. It's 3-2 Phillies. And that'll be all for Hellickson.
Right down the middle, 3rd pitch. You had a good breaking ball all day long. go with your fourth pitch and you get burned. One at bat by Cespedes.
On the 11th pitch of the at bat, after wasting away a couple of tough breaking balls, he got the off-speed pitch and hit it out. And the Mets, after 15 fruitless innings in a row, get on the board. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. James Russell coming in. We'll be right back to Citi Field. James Russell makes his second appearance of the series.
His first night he gave up 2 walks, 2 hits, 4 runs.
One of those walks went to Duda, whom he comes in to face. The ball and a strike to Lucas, is 0 for 2 today. So the Mets, who were stymied for the first 5 2/3 by Jeremy Hellickson, David Wright a 2-out double, and Yoenis Cespedes a 2-run homer, and all of a sudden the Mets are right back in this. That Mets home run means $2,000 for No Kid Hungry, enough to provide 20,000 healthy meals courtesy of Citi. Russell ahead 1-2, and Duda fouls it back. Neil Walker would be next. So Hellickson goes 5 2/3, 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, a wild pitch, and a home run, and leaves with a 1-run lead. And Duda hits one down the line toward the corner, goes Borges, and he makes the catch to end the inning. But the Mets get closer. A 2-out power rally. David Wright going to the gap for a double. And Cespedes 11 pitches deep in the at-bat. His first home run makes it 3-2 Philadelphia after 6. Jeremy Hellickson and Matt Harvey matched up today. Harvey gave up a 2-run homer to Odubel Herrera that put a crimp in his day, and the 2-run homer also spoiled what was a terrific afternoon for Hellickson, as Yoenis Cespedes took him deep. So it's a 1-run game as we go to the 7th, and Jim Henderson, who's been spotless so far, will come on to pitch.
There's a lot of zeros in that bullpen so far. Henderson has looked outstanding. 4 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work.
Mets bullpen has worked 11 1/3 innings, no earned runs, no walks over the first 4 games of the year. Cedric Hunter takes high.
Bastardo was impressive last night, 92 miles an hour.
Best I've seen him throw throughout the beginning of the entirety of spring till now.
Lower third of the order for the Phillies against Henderson, Hunter, Borges, and the pitcher spot. So Harvey went 6, allowed 3 runs, 6 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a home run, 95 pitches for Matt in his 2nd start of the year.
I don't know if you guys read the interesting article in the Times on Henderson and Francisco Rodriguez and how much he helped him in the bullpen in Milwaukee.
Said the biggest piece of advice that K-Rod gave him is go with your best stuff.
And he said that Francisco would teach him to pitch to the score. Get 2 or 3 run lead, you pitch a little differently than when you pitch it from behind and run like he is now, or pitching ahead by a run.
I think you just made some sabermetric person's head blow up when you said that.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Pulled down the line, a foul ball, 3-2.
Guy had the glove, he missed it.
Well,
that was a bullet.
Oh, hey. Bad hands.
But what you're talking about as a pitcher pitching to the score is that you might challenge a hitter more if you have a lead, as opposed to
big lead,
more fine in a 1-run game.
Exactly.
High fastball gets Hunter, and Henderson continues to thrive with that heat. 1 out.
Got a little help there. That was ball 4. But he throws very hard.
I also think he hides the ball pretty well. He's all arms and legs when he's coming at you. And that ball has good movement, especially up and away to the lefties.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Borges, who has one of the Phillies' 6 hits today, an infield single in the 3rd, and scored their first run. Well, Henderson's a guy who took a long time to get to the big leagues. He was 29 when he made his debut with Milwaukee, and then shoulder problems sidelined him for the most of 2 seasons. And at age 33, thrilled to be back.
Well, I remember when I was in AA ball, they had a reliever, Tom Henke, who was throwing submarine, and finally when he got traded to the Toronto Blue Jays, they got him back on top of the ball, and boy, he didn't make it till a little later in his career, but he was outstanding.
Turned out to be a great closer. He and Wayne Ward formed a lights out bullpen in Toronto.
Nasty slider, Dwayne Ward. Did you face him?
Faced Henke.
Henke.
I don't remember much about my tenure in Cleveland.
We'll remind you next weekend. Tyler Goodell on deck to pinch hit.
The only thing I remember is I hit my only American League home run off of Todd Stottlemyre.
Oh.
Can you believe it?
Wow.
In Toronto.
Was that in the old ballpark, or was that in Skydome? Exhibition Stadium, the outdoor
Skydome.
Park? Skydome.
I believe. I'm not sure, Garrett. It's a long time ago. Not much to remember. I remember hitting my head and the button at the top of my cap at Old Tiger Stadium about killed me standing up.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Henderson. 2 down to the 7th.
Very nice.
See how long his arm action is. Has that arm almost completely behind his back. That's where he gets that movement from.
Now Tyler Goodell, who has pinch hit in each of the first 2 games of this series and struck out each time.
He's done a lot of swinging and missing, Gary, in this series off the pine.
And Henderson quickly ahead 0-2.
Love these relievers. No nonsense. Come in and just fire strikes.
And throw strikes, yes. Love it.
Well, with Henderson and Blevins, the Mets have 2 relievers who still haven't given up a base runner as a Met. Blevins up in the bullpen in case Henderson falters. 1-2 coming off the corner with a fastball. 2-2.
Struck him out. Jim Henderson strikes out the side in the top of the 7th.
Mets may have found some true lightning in Jim Henderson. Still 3-2 Phillies in the 7th. Their first regular season look at the Marlins tomorrow night. First of 3 here at Citi Field. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. And when you talk Marlins, you start with Giancarlo Stanton. They've got a terrific young outfield there with Yelich and Ozuna and Stanton, and of course Jose Fernandez leading the pitching staff. He'll pitch against the Mets here on Tuesday night. And for more on the Marlins, let's check in with Steve.
Gary, they've also got a pretty darn good second baseman in Dee Gordon, who is coming off a sensational 2015. Just the 2nd player in National League history to lead the league in hits, batting average, and stolen bases, the other being Honus Wagner back in 1908. And Dee Gordon picking up right where he left off here in 2016. So far on the young season, 8 for 18. On opening day, he had 3 extra base hits, the first ever defending batting champion to accomplish such a feat. Today, 2 hits, including a 2nd triple on the season.
Danny Echeverria, his shortstop double play combination partner, is off to a good start as well. The Marlins, to me, are the X factor of the National League East as Hector Neris takes over.
Yeah, they could really put a crimp in Washington and the Mets, thinking that they're going to run away with it. Neris has been awfully good in this series and really their best reliever so far in this young season.
On the way, Miami and Washington 1-1 in the 6th after getting rained out yesterday. Well, the Phillies finally got some good bullpen work yesterday. 4 relievers combined for 3 scoreless innings. Neris was part of that after they imploded over their first 4 games. Neil Walker leads off 0 for 2 on the day, robbed of a hit on a diving catch by Cedric Hunter in left field his last time up.
Neris has got a 4-seamer that he can throw 92, 93 miles an hour. Good sinking fastball and a split.
Got 2 outs yesterday, then walked De Aza.
Nice.
There's that split. The gate even on Walker 1-1. Addison Reed getting ready to pitch the 8th inning for New York. Walker, Conforto, and Cabrera for the Mets here in the 7th. Two-1 from Neris, and Walker fouls out the fastball 2-2.
Well, Neris is one of the few pitchers today that throws that split finger. That's a pitch that's been kind of outlawed in most minor league systems. They don't want their young pitchers throwing it. They think it's causes some arm injuries.
And Walker takes the fastball, strike 3 called.
So he gets sitting on that breaking ball or split finger, and then the express right down the middle.
It's called getting set up.
Yeah. So that happened to Duda earlier in the game against Hellickson. Now Conforto, who's 0 for 1, struck out and walked. Hellickson went 5 2/3, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits. James Russell got the last out in the 6th, and now Neris working in the 7th for the Phillies. The Phillies have already won as many games at Citi Field this year as they did all of last year. That's for 8-1 against the Phillies at home last year.
Neris has got good stuff.
Well, what makes his split finger good is that when he's on, he can throw it for a strike also. You can only throw it for a ball. The hitters will start they'll start taking it, not swinging at it.
Conforto pulls one. Howard with the diving stop, and Neris gets over to cover. The nimble Ryan Howard for the 2nd out.
Well, if this ball gets by Howard, I think the rover behind him would have covered it. And I do not understand why Conforto has been overshifted as he has been so far early in his career. But beautiful play by Howard.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Cabrera, who hit one deep to right field that was caught right near the wall by Borges his last time up. Struble 0 for 2 on the day, and takes a fastball strike. To Cabrera, and he pulls one down to Howard. Another nice stop, and they get the 3rd out. No need to take him out for defense. 1-2-3 inning for Neris. Still 3-2 Phillies after 7. This week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium for out-of-market games. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. After the Braves lost yesterday, Freddie Gonzalez dropped the E word on his team. Embarrassing. Second National League manager in the first week of the season to use the E word. Chip Hale did it after their first game.
How to win friends and influence people? I don't know about that.
Here's Addison Reed to pitch the 8th inning for New York. Top of the batting order, Freddie Galvis, who drove in the first Phillies run with a sac fly back in the 3rd, and he hooks one foul. Reed's first appearance in the series. He hasn't worked since Tuesday in Kansas City when he worked a 1-2-3 8th inning. Galvis, Hernandez, and Herrera for the Phillies in the 8th. And Jim Henderson could not have been better, striking out the side in the 7th. More and more, he looks like a real find for this team. I mean, I know he did it all spring, so it doesn't come as a huge surprise, but you never know when midnight's going to strike when a season starts.
But it does help you to know that when he was sound physically, he could put up some big numbers like he did in Milwaukee. 28 saves, I believe, that one year.
Galvis pulls one into right field for a base hit. So Freddie Galvis with just his 2nd hit in the series, behind in the count 0-2. And the Phils have a leadoff base runner in the 8th.
That's a slider there that didn't move a lot, Keith.
You're right. And downstairs, a flat slider. That's what I said about Reed. Is against the left-handers, he's going to have problems because he has a flat breaking ball. Going to be doubly tough against right-handers.
Well, Cesar Hernandez has 6 hits in this series. Let's see if Pete Mackanin plays for 1 run here. And he does have him square right back to Reed, but his play is to first. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Galvis to 2nd. Now Odubel Herrera, who last time up in the 6th inning took Matt Harvey deep.
This was a slider that did not really break sharply, and it came right down and into the wheelhouse, and this young kid's a nice little hitter.
Herrera's home run was his first of the year after hitting 8 as a rookie last year. So the Phillies looking for some insurance with the runner in scoring position and 1 out.
Very peculiar stance. Look at that front foot. Very pronounced. I don't think I've ever seen a hitter with his front foot. He's almost on the side of his instep.
Yeah, you can see his spikes, the bottom of the shoe.
Now, I always believe in being on the inner half of your feet, but not this. This is extreme.
I mean, you see that sometimes on contact when guys stride, but not in their initial setup. That is really odd. .2-0 from Reed, and he misses with a fastball. 3-0. You got the right-hand hitter Maikel Franco waiting on deck after 3 straight left-hand hitters against Reed.
Another good pitch to hit right here. There's a big gap in left center field. Don't play into the pitcher's hands. It's your pitch to hit. Usually they stay away. Look at the setup of the catcher.
And there's ball 4, and there's the first walk this season by a Mets reliever. So now the Phillies have 2 men on, and their cleanup hitter Maikel Franco coming up.
Franco with Howard on deck. No left-hander in the Mets bullpen right now.
Blevins was up in the last inning.
Probably wouldn't take him too many pitches to get warm.
So a big batter here for Addison Reed. Franco 1 for 3 today, had a base hit to left field against Harvey his last time up. That went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs and 6 hits. Cespedes' 2-run homer got the Mets closer, and now Reed trying to keep it a 1-run game. And Franco with a big cut of the fastball, fouls it back.
Franco does not get cheated. I should say Franco. That would be the proper pronunciation. He's from Dominican Republic.
The fascist pronunciation.
Just 23 years old and asked to be a big league cleanup hitter after a half season in the big leagues. And steps out, and he got time late. Jerry Meals, the home plate umpire, granting time when it looked like Reed was already into his delivery.
Kind of helps Reed, though, because that would have been a ball. Although I don't know if he kind of eased up on the pitch. It was a slider that Reed chose to throw. That's always the dilemma for the pitcher. Do you go back to that same pitch?
It's lined to the left, a base hit. Galvis will be held at third by Juan Samuel, and the bases are loaded.
So it's Phillies third base coach Juan Samuel, the former Met, playing very cautious.
I'll say
with Galvis, who can really run.
Hanging slider. Did not break. And now the big guy.
Well, there's no sign of Blevins. He was not up in this inning. He was up last inning briefly. But it's going to be Reed to pitch to Howard.
He broke right off the bat. I would have challenged this throw.
And there was a time in Ryan Howard's career where you would never have challenged that throw.
Howard has walked twice today. Otherwise 0 for 1. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Galvis came sprinting down the line as that pitch was thrown. Looks like he had designs on stealing home, with Wright playing low off the line at third. Howard homered yesterday against Bartolo Colon. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the slider misses, a ball and a strike. Reed has given up 2 hits and a walk. Hansel Robles, Logan Verrett both get up in the Mets bullpen. I wonder whether there was anything bothering Blevins after he got up in the last inning.
That was my thought.
There's a nice pitch low and in to Howard to get Reed ahead in the count 1-2.
Well, Howard struck out the other night in a similar situation, and it had a terrible at bat with the bases loaded in the 9th inning off of Familia.
Reed could really use a strikeout here. Couldn't get him to chase the slider, and Plawecki knocks it down. 2-2.
I can see Bastardo, who has thrown the last 2 days, maybe, staying away from him, but
he's also not your situational lefty.
Right, that's right. I mean, they would have countered with Darren Ruff, but still.
Howard 0 for 2 in his career against Addison Reed. 2-2 coming. Another piece of the fastball to stay alive.
Well, he got lucky there that he did not. He got it off his hand, and it's a cold day. It hurts, but lucky he didn't. The worst part is when it hits the tips of your fingers. Oh.
Plawecki sets up outside. And Howard hits one in the air to right, deep enough to get Galvis home. Granderson under it. Galvis will come in. The throw goes to second.
Oh! Close play, and just back in time is Herrera. And I'm not sure if they had gotten him out, whether the run would have crossed the plate in time.
I think if you're Terry, if it's anything close at all, you got to challenge that play.
It's a sacrifice fly for Howard to make it a 4-2 Phillies lead. But let's check the play at second base and see how close it was.
Trust. A young
Here comes Terry out. I'm not sure if he's out to make a pitching change or to challenge.
No, he put his hand over his ears.
Safe. Look at Juan Samuel put his hands on his hips in disgust. This Philly team is young, and they've made nothing but mistakes on the bases. He got it back.
Yeah, Herrera got the hand back and kept the hand on the bag.
Number one,
but the Mets are challenging.
Well, why not?
I don't think they're going to get any satisfaction out of it. And then the question is, how on replay can you tell if the run crossed the plate before the tag was made?
I think that's what Terry is asking right now, to tell you the truth.
I mean, you'd have to have two different pieces of this. A, was Herrera out, which didn't look like he was, and if he was he out before the run crossed the plate, which would take the run off the board?
I've got a great idea. Why don't you rely on the home plate umpire who was actually there, and it's his job to make sure and know.
What Herrera's got to know in that base running is that Granderson is going to throw the ball to second. So all you have to do is tag up and go. There's no way he's going to throw.
Well, let's take a look at the lead runner here.
Well, Galvis did not slow down, which is good for him, but he did not cross the plate before the tag.
That's a close one.
So if the out is made at second, then the run is not going to count. But I don't think this is going to get overturned. He certainly looked like he got his hand back in time.
All right, I know you got a Major League Baseball replay, but you have to have MLB at bat there having a free advertisement. I mean, come on.
So it's a sacrifice fly for Howard to give the Phillies a 2-run lead, but there's no way that Galvis crossed the plate before the tag was made. But it certainly appears as though the tag did not produce an out. So it kind of ends up being a moot point.
Seen some base running gaps by the Phillies this weekend.
Mostly by Cesar Hernandez.
Is our first challenge of the year?
No.
We haven't had too many, have we?
Mets had a challenge that they lost on. Unless his hand came off the bat.
No, the other angle
looked like it did.
The other angle showed. Boy, the Phillies are just showing their youth. They've just been playing horrendous ball on the field as far as running the bases.
Not sure why this is taking so long for the umpires to determine.
It's going to be
play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. You would think that the guys down in the bunker would have a pretty good view of this.
Yes,
they do confirm that he was safe. So
we all knew that.
That's the challenge.
That just took around what, 10 minutes?
Might be a small exaggeration. So there's the first run allowed, or first earned run allowed by the Mets bullpen this season.
Got to watch out for Ruiz here. A long break in the action. Loves to jump on that first pitch.
Officially 2 minutes and 25 seconds on the challenge. Of course, that doesn't include the time leading up to the challenge. Here's Ruiz, who's 0 for 3, 2 out and 2 on. And Reed pours over a strike. And a half-hearted cut by Ruiz, and it's 0-2. Chooch now 37 years old. He's going to be the backup this year for Cameron Rupp, although he's now started half the games through the first week of the season. He pitches deep in this 8th inning for Addison Reed. Phillies trying to take 2 out of 3 from the Mets this weekend. They didn't get their second win against the Mets last year until September. Mets won 13 of the first 14 from the Phillies last year. Wound up 14-5 against Philadelphia. Now the 1-2. Right cuts it off. And that retires the side, but the Phillies get an insurance run on the Ryan Howard sacrifice fly. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Mets down to the Phillies 4-2. Mets information with a constant flow of Mets news and opinion, featuring game breakdowns, special features, and player profiles. Mets blog presented by Citi, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Home 8th inning, Mets down 4-2. Well, Hector Neris has worked all 3 games of this series, and Pete Maccannon's asking him to start a 2nd inning today. That's a little unusual in today's game. Kevin Plawecki leads off, but it gives you an idea, A, how shaky the Phillies bullpen has been, and B, how badly Maccannon wants to win this series.
Yes.
And all of that, if they do win this series, the bullpen's going to play a big part in them winning this series in the last 2 games.
Well, when you have a team that's not expected to be very good, and certainly the Phillies fall in that category, 99 losses last year and something similar expected this year, you kind of have to. And Plawecki went around for strike 3, and that's the first out. You kind of have to overload on the games that you feel you have a chance to win.
The problem is you don't want to wear out your bullpen in the course of doing that. And I think it's all, to me, I feel it's just all the importance of, they got off to an 0-4 start. You can imagine the clamor in Philadelphia, the fans, and try to get the ball rolling here.
Wilmer Flores will bat for Addison Reed. Flores got the start at 3rd base yesterday, got on base a couple of times, went 0 for 2. Reese has retired 4 in a row, and he gets the splitter in for a strike. Well, it's the old thing about, you know, the Phillies had a terrific closer in Ken Giles and opted to trade him to get some more pitching depth. And we saw part of that yesterday with Vince Velasquez. But it's that old question about why do you need a great closer if you have a bad team? Well, the answer is that if you're a bad team, the only games you're going to win are going to be close games. And, you know, you'd like to win as many as you can.
Well, if you're a bad team, the only reason you do it is you're building for the future.
Well, that was their theory.
Right. Look at Atlanta, as bad as they are. And it looks to me like they're going to probably be the cellar dweller in this division. But John Hart, the general manager, is loaded up with all young arms.
As have the Phillies. So both these teams are building for the future, but sacrificing the present to get there. However, the present right now, as far as this weekend is concerned, is going the Phillies' way. Curtis Granderson waiting on deck. Neris ahead 1-2, and Flores with a wave at the splitter, and that's back-to-back strikeouts for Neris to start the 8th. Drive around the majors presented by Cadillac. Marlins will be here tomorrow night. They're 1-1 in Washington in the 7th. Brandon Moss a 3-run homer for the Cardinals. That game's now tied again with the Braves. And Marco Estrada 7 shutout innings as Toronto snaps a 4-game losing streak, shutting out the Red Sox.
Against that Red Sox team that has had at least 6 runs and at least 10 hits in every game.
Small sample size.
Yeah.
Granderson 0 for 3 today, now 1 for 19 to start the season.
Too soon.
Curtis hits one in the air to right, and Borges has plenty of room. And Neris with 2 perfect innings out of the bullpen for the Phillies. And that sends us off to the 9th with the Mets down 4-2. Sports night at 10:30. All the baseball action Sunday at the Masters. And where was the parade? Was that in Stores or in Hartford? Down Interstate 84? Where do they have their
Don't
parade?
bring me down that road, please.
There was a parade yesterday in the city, the old Tartan Parade.
Logan Verrett makes his season debut for the Mets as he pitches the top of the 9th.
See, his numbers from last season included some good work as a long man. Well, that's his numbers in Las Vegas. My fault.
His numbers in the big leagues were better than his numbers in Las Vegas.
He's a starter in Vegas. Pitch out of the bullpen, but probably his most productive outing was in Colorado.
Yep. First Met ever to throw 8 innings at Coors Field. At a time when the pitching staff was strapped and they really needed him, and he came up big. Cedric Hunter leading off in the 9th, and he goes down swinging on the breaking ball. 3 pitches, and Hunter's retired. 1 out of the 9th. Verrett, when he first came to the Mets, and remember he had the he went to Baltimore in the Rule 5 draft. They let him go on waivers to Texas. He made his big league debut with the Rangers, and then they sent him back to the Mets because they want to keep him all year. And then when he first came to the Mets, he did some very strong work out of the bullpen in some low leverage spots, but it got caught in a number of squeeze and got sent back to the minor leagues.
Well, he's a guy that knows what his strengths are. His best pitch is his breaking ball. He can throw it for strikes, and he throws it often.
This is a tune-up for Verrett, really his side session, getting ready for the start that he will probably make on Wednesday afternoon in place of Jacob deGrom. The decision was made on deGrom today because he just wasn't feeling right with that lad enough to throw his bullpen session, and once that went by the boards, they just decided they're going to skip his start.
Getting better, but not quick enough.
And that also gives Jake the leeway to go home for the impending birth of his son, who was due 5 days ago. There's a strike to Borges, 3-1. And that will enable the Mets maybe to play around with their roster, because if the baby is born, then he can go on paternity leave for 3 days and they can bring up a player in his spot. Three and two to Borges. Andres Blanco out on deck to pinch hit for the Phillies. In the bottom of the ninth, the Mets will have 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Wright, Cespedes, and Duda. So Verrett trying to keep this game right where it is and give the Mets a chance to come from behind in their final at bat. Three and two to Borges. And he missed ball 4. So the Met pitching staff, which had walked only 3 batters total in the first 4 games, has walked 3 today. And now Andres Blanco will pinch hit. Follow Mets Baseball live with the MLB.com at bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
Good hit and run situation here.
Got a fast man at first in Borges. Blanco started the first game of the series at third base when Franco was out.
There was a missed hit and run sign in last night's ball game by the Phils.
We spent some time talking about the Phils and what to expect from them this season with the young team, young pitching staff. But you know what? They have a chance to take 2 out of 3, and the Mets have their own issues. 3 hits on today's game.
Out into right center field toward the gap, and that'll be well beyond Cespedes and up against the wall. Borges around third. He's going to score easily. It's a pinch hit RBI double for Andres Blanco, and the Phillies stretch their lead to 5-2.
Well, Borges with a great read here, and it should. Cespedes again playing straight up. And Borges there, he puts it in gear right there, realizes it's not going to be caught, and with his speed, he scores easily. Watch him here, getting his measure of it. He ain't going to get it. No, excuse me, folks. He isn't going to get it. And I'll turn the Jets on and score standing up.
Boy, it makes running fast look easy.
Now Freddie Galvis.
Fastball. Bell tie out over the plate.
Galvis flies one into left center, and Conforto comes over to get it for the second out. Well, if the Mets don't have a rally in the bottom of the ninth, they would fall to 2-3 on the season, which would mean they'd have the National League right where they want it. Last year, the Mets opened the season 2-3 and then won 11 in a row.
Yeah, they ran off 11 in a row. Well, you can't always count on that.
I like the positive attitude here.
Just looking for a little symmetry. Didn't you guys start 2-3 in '86?
Yeah, we didn't start out hot. We went on that road trip and took off. Right, Ron?
I think one of the tabloids had that they're done.
Is that right, Dave? Did they start 2-3 in '86?
We went to St. Louis and took the 4th straight, and we're on our way.
We ran off 106 after that, though, Gary.
Yeah. Don't forget it.
Never will.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Hernandez 2 for 3 and a sacrifice today, and he takes off the plate 1-1. And Dave confirms. So 2 and 3 is that's right where you want to be. I think in '69 they had a tough first week also. They won 100 games that year.
Well, I've never seen a schedule where you have a couple of days off after your first 2 games. You know, I'm not making excuses for Logan. He doesn't need any, but you know, it's hard when you're in the bullpen and you can't really throw on the side because you never know when you're going to throw in the game, and he hasn't pitched in 9 days.
And Hernandez waving at that one. 2-2. Just out of the middle, Plawecki. So last year, 2 and 3, then 11 straight wins. 86, 2 and 3, then 11 straight wins.
Really, same thing.
Wow.
Same thing. So who knows? Hold down to Duda. He'll take this one himself. That retires the side. Phillies tack on a run in the 9th. Mets have their big hitters coming up in the bottom of the 9th. Wright, Cespedes, and Duda trying to come from behind in their final at bat in the rubber game of the series. New York hasn't gone well for the Mets so far. 5-2 they trail as we go to the bottom of the 9th, trying to avoid getting beaten in a series by the Phillies, whom they dominated last year. Mets won the opener on Friday afternoon. Phillies won 1-0 last night, and the Mets down 3 as they face Jean-Marc Gomez, who took just 6 pitches to get a save yesterday.
Trying to get his second save in 2 days. Gomez is a rare closer in baseball for this team anyways, who doesn't really strike out people, more of a sinker slider type pitcher.
Well, to be fair, he's already the 3rd closer the Phillies have used in the first week of the season. So he's a closer by trial right now, and so far so good. The Phillies bullpen all of a sudden the last 2 days has turned things completely around. David Wright, first pitch swinging, floats one into right field. On comes Borges. He'll have to play it on a couple of hops. And David Wright is aboard to start the 9th inning. So David wasting no time, down by 3 runs, attacks the first pitch and has his second hit of the day.
Gets jammed here and fists it out, inside out. Texas leaguer. Line drive in the paper tomorrow if you're living in anywhere but the New York area.
They can see the games everywhere now here. Here's Cespedes, who's responsible for the 2-man runs today. His first home run, a 2-run shot in the 6th against Jeremy Hellickson. Cespedes 2 for 3 on the afternoon. Mets need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate with Lucas Duda on deck.
Well, here's the 11 pitch at bat. It culminated with this. Change up. 3-2, 2-run shot. Got the Mets back in the game.
Get it over the M&M seats in left field. Gomez falls behind 2-0. Gomez's save last night was just the second of his major league career. He had one with the Pirates back when he was Neil Walker's teammate. Maybe it won't go so easily for him today.
No one up in the bullpen for the fighting Phils.
He's behind Cespedes 2-0. And there's a strike. The way we were talking about successful Met teams that started slowly. 1969, Mets started 2-5, 6-11. They had an 11-game winning streak, but that didn't come till May. Two-one coming. Cespedes grounds it to short. Galvis to his right, gets the out at second. Hernandez is really not in time. So there's the first out of the ninth.
It's a nice play by Galvis. The ball came up a little bit.
I mean, it's the big leagues. Yeah. You know, the key to this play is he sidled to his right and got in front of the ball. Get the sure out.
Made sure he got one.
That's exactly right.
Now Duda will come up with 1 out and 1 on. Franco will move over to the right side. Luke is 0 for 3 today. 2 for 9 in this series. Mets have been held to 4 hits this afternoon. They had just 3 hits last night. Wright and Cespedes have all the hits today for New York. 2 apiece.
Home run doesn't beat you here. A walk would be a capital crime.
Duda flies one foul. 1-1. See what Duda's done against Gomez, who started out his career as a starting pitcher in Cleveland.
And he was kind of a long man with the Bucks.
Spent 2 years with the Pirates, now in his 2nd year with the Phillies. One thing that Gomez has always been good at is keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's a sinker ball pitcher. Last year, just 4 home runs in 75 innings.
That's important, not only as your closer, but in that ballpark when the summer comes.
Howard playing behind Cespedes at first. And Duda lines one toward Galvis, and he picks it off for the out, trying to get back as Cespedes and arrives safely. Galvis playing alone on that left side, was positioned in the right spot to grab Duda's line drive, and the Mets are down to their final out.
Boy, you're sitting there as a hitter going, I got the whole left side of the infield, and I hit it right at him. Unfortunate for Cespedes, that's a long throw from the other side of the diamond. Safety first right now, down 3 runs.
So it's left to Neil Walker, who's 0 for 3 today, 2 for 11 in this series. Cespedes takes off. They'll ignore him. Defensive indifference.
First one of the year.
Defensive indifference, but it's going to be an earned run on the pitcher if it's a base hit, Ronnie.
They won't be indifferent about that.
No, exactly. Think about it, right?
But it's what Jim Henderson was talking about that he learned from K-Rod, right? Pitch to the scoreboard. That run doesn't matter.
Just get the hitter if you're Gomez.
Changeup fouled off, and it's 1-1 to Walker. If Walker can keep it going and get on base, Conforto would come to bat as the tying run.
I like that matchup. Low ball hitter versus low ball pitcher.
Only 4 hits by the Mets. 2 and 3 hole. Cespedes and Wright. Everybody else, the collar.
And the fastball crackles on the inside corner, and it's 1-2. So now the Mets are down to their final strike.
This staff has pitched inside.
Cespedes at second and 2 down, 1-2 to Walker. And Gomez comes a little further inside, 2-2. Mets have scored just 14 runs in the first 5 games. Walker's driven in 5 of the 14. But he goes down on strikes to end this one. Gomez has his second save in 2 days. And the Phillies take 2 of 3 from the Mets as they grab the rubber game of the series, 5-2.
Well, Matt Harvey pitched well over 5 innings, matched by Jeremy Hellickson for the Philadelphia Phillies. Matt wilted a little bit, giving up a 2-run home run in the 6th, and the Mets could never catch the Phils.
And from an offensive standpoint, the Mets really only managed 4 hits, as I mentioned earlier. That in this the bottom of the 9th, Wright and Cespedes with the only hits of the ball game. A 2-run shot by Cespedes gets his first home run, but the Phillies showed some fight.
Odubel Herrera with the big blow for Philadelphia. His 2-run homer made it a 3-0 game, and the Mets could never catch up. Harvey takes his second loss as he gives up 3 runs over 6 innings, and the Mets fall to 2-3 on the season. Game summary presented by Geico. So it's the Phillies taking the rubber game of the 3-game set. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.